most of us think that the world is just messy right now, but what you're actually seeing is a system update. The big players, the tech giants, are divorcing themselves from the public system as we speak. They are building closed loops where they own the power, the money, and the data. Point number one, the energy islands. Look at Meta. They just signed a massive deal for nuclear power. Why? Because they realize the public electric grid is too weak and old to power their AI. While the average Joe deals with raising electricity bills and potential blackouts, Meta is just building its own energy island. They're not just a tech company anymore. They are becoming their own nuclear power nation. Point number two, the resource graph, owning the ingredients. Why is the United States suddenly obsessed with Greenland and Venezuela oil? It's about sovereignty. Greenland is not just ice, it's a gold mine for rare earth metals. You can't just build a chip or an AI robot without them. Venezuela, we are boarding tankers to track their oil while promising $100 billion in investment. The dot to connect is that the US is securing the ingredients for the future so they don't have to rely on anyone else. This is techno-nationalism. If you don't own the dirt, you don't own the future. Point three, the digital serfdom, the end of owning things. For you, the system update looks like convenience, but in actuality, it's about control. We're going to have robo taxi. Nvidia and Tesla are racing to be the brain of your car. Soon, you won't own a car. You'll subscribe to a mobility service. If you stop paying that service, your ride stops working. And then we also talked about the digital twins. Stores like Walmart are creating mirrors of themselves. They track exactly where you walk and what you look at so they can predict what you will buy before you even feel hungry. The bottom line is you are moving from being a customer to being a data point in a subscription based machine. Point number four, the financial reset, bringing money in house. Trump just pardoned the outlaws of crypto, Rouse Obert and CZ. This isn't just about mercy, it's a signal that the US wants to bring the trillions of dollars in crypto in house. They want to regulate, track, and use it to prop up the US system. It moves crypto from the fringes and put it right into the hands of the titans like BlackRock. The Golden Dome connection. You might have heard the president talk about the Golden Dome, a high-tech shield to protect the US from any missiles attack. But here's what they're not telling us. A Golden Dome doesn't just run on batteries. It runs on massive data and nuclear power. Why nuclear energy matters to the military. The Department of War, the new name of the DoD in 2026, needs AI that never turns off. If a missile is launched from across the ocean, the Golden Dome AI has to calculate its in milliseconds and launch an interceptor. The problem, you can't trust the public power grid for that. It's too slow and it's too easy to hack. The solution, this is why the government is backing companies like Meta, Microsoft to build that private nuclear AI hubs. They're not just for chat GBT. They are the engine room for the Golden Dome, the in-house strategy. By pushing the nuclear power data centers, the military is creating a fortress America. They are moving the nation's most important brain, the AI, and heart, the energy behind the closed doors. They are calling it Manhattan Project 2.0. But wait, why is the government so happy to let tech giants build their own nuclear plants? Because of Project Golden Dome. The US military is building a AI powered shield over the country. This system has to track thousands of objects at once. To do that, the military needs the same pipes that the tech giants are building. When you see headlines about nuclear AI, don't just think about your social media feeds. Think about the national defense grid. The titans in the military are merging their infrastructures. They are building a system that is literally too big to fail because if the power grids goes out, the shields go down. The AI needs speed. It needs to be faster than a hypersonic missile. Only nuclear power supercomputers can do that. The military need reliability, grid power, so the defense system stays up even if the public grid is attacked. The grand chessboard is integration, moving towards a world where the line between big techs and big defense completely disappeared. The Golden Dome defense shield is currently estimated to cost $175 billion, with some estimates reaching into the trillion. The money has to come from somewhere. And guess where it's coming from? It usually comes from the taxpayers. To explain today's market on January 15th of 2026, we have to look at the tug of war between two massive forces. You have the AI titan trying to pull the market to new highs. And on the other hand, you have the Trump policy effect and geopolitical fears, creating a choppy, uncertain floor. The big tech tug of war. So TSMC versus the China ban. The market is choppy. The market is not doing anything as we speak. It's been like this since the New York market had opened. And I seem like we're in between these two lines, and we have to break one of those lines. And if we're in a tug of war and we have AI and the Magnificent Seven keeping up the S&P 500, and then we got the big banks that's pouring into these tech giants, and also the Department of Defense is investing in these AI tech giants, which is keeping the market up. But based on the macro and microeconomics, there's a tug of war. The good news, TSMC released blockbuster earnings today. They announced they are increasing their spending to nearly $56 billion for 2026 just to keep up with AI demand. This sent stocks like Media soaring in the morning. The bad news is Chinese authorities are blocking NVIDIA's H200 chips from entering the country. The result, investors don't know whether to buy the AI hype or sell because of the tug of war. This create that zigzag pattern you can see. Now, let's get back to the Golden Dome in Iran and let's put all of this in perspective before we close out. So, oil prices took a massive dive today, falling about 4%, which usually helps the stock market, but it creates choppy energy stocks. So after days of high tensions and talk of military strikes, President Trump signaled a cooling down of tensions with Iran. So if we go to oil, we can see oil is having no volatility because what's going on in the news? Look at this. This is no volume, no volatility. Oil prices look like it might go down because of what's currently going on globally. And we're in this chop suey zone. So there's no volume and volatility to push this market. But we can see that the market was up and then it came down around 59, 58 bucks. So it was up, came down, came back up around this line, and it came down and looked like we're in a chop. The logic is less war means more stable oil. This is good for your gas prices, but bad for the energy tech giant who were betting on high prices. This rotation money out of oil and into tech is what made the Dow Jones feel so unstable today. Look at the S&P 500. Now, it looked like we hit a high and we're just in this range with the S&P 500, but there's little volatilities. And the institutional traders, they're the one that keep the market up. They don't want to bring in the volatility and the volume. So they're the one that's keeping the market up. And we're just following the trend. The jobless claims report came out this morning, and it showed that fewer people are applying for unemployment than expected. Only 198,000. The paradox. In a normal world, this is great. It means people have jobs. The market view. In 2026, a strong job market makes the Federal Reserve nervous about inflation. Investors are now worried that the Feds won't cut interest rates as soon as they hope. This interest rate anxiety is the choppiness you feel every time the economy looks too good. The market gets scared of high rates. That's why we're chopping. We're chopping out, and the market will chop you off. The golden dawn expense, the taxpayer. So financial stops, banks were under pressure because of the golden dome and the credit card cap talk, the squeeze. Trump's proposal to cap credit cards starting January 20th is scaring banks, investors, the debt. As the government spends more on the Golden Dome defense shield, the market is realizing the national debt is skyrocketing. This is pushing treasury yields up to 4.16%, which acts like a gravity pulling down on the stock market. Connecting it to my business and how my company, can service you since I am an insurance broker. When the market is this choppy, it's the perfect time to talk to a professional about asset sovereignty. Today is the perfect example of why you can't have all your eggs in the market, because China banning chips, Trump capping interest rates, and the Feds stalling on cuts. The public market is becoming a roller coaster. This is why we move money into private votes like life insurance, tax-free plans, where the noise of the grand chessboard doesn't determine your family survival, as tech and energy fought for dominance. US and China are actively blocking each other techs. Your 401k is being used as a pawn in a global trade war. Here's the reality. This is the setup. The Golden Dome and the nuclear AI race are incredibly expensive. We're talking about hundreds of billions of dollars. On top of that, the TCJA tax cuts are set to sunset, meaning most Americans are looking at a massive tax hike. The government is essentially building a dome over the country, but they are sending you the bill. As an insurance broker, I see the grand chessboard differently. If the Titans are moving their money into closed loops to avoid the public system, you should be doing the same. Stop putting all your eggs in one basket. If you have all your money in a traditional 401k, a 403b, any government or employer sponsored plan, or independent retirement accounts, you are a sitting duck for future tax hikes. You don't own that money. You're just renting it from the IRS. Build your own dome. I help people use strategies like cash value, life insurance, and tax diversified plans. These are private votes where your money can grow tax deferred and, more importantly, be accessed tax free. Think of it like this: tax insurance. You are insuring yourself against the government raising taxes to pay for their AI wars. While the public grid of the economy gets volatile, your cash value is a private grid that stays stable. And we're talking about generational wealth. The Titans pass their money down through trust and wills. You can do the same with a tax-free death benefit that the government cannot touch. How can we connect the dots? The reality is that the other 493 companies are struggling with high interest rates and failing consumer spending. The Golden Dome defense spending and the nuclear AI builds are pumping money into the economy, which keeps prices high and prevents the Feds from lowering interest rates. Even if official inflation rates around 3%, the tariffs on important goods, now averaging around 15% under the new trade policies, are adding a hidden surcharge to everything from electronics to groceries. The debt bill. The U.S. deficit for 2026 is projected at $1.7 trillion. To pay for the Golden Dome, $1 trillion plus defense budget, the government has two choices: print more money, which causes inflation, or raise taxes. The government isn't kicking the can anymore. They are picking it up and handing you the bill. Why index universal life? When the market is this choppy, an index IUL acts like a financial parachute, the 0% floor. And the IUL, if the S&P 500 crashes 20% tomorrow because of a trade war with China, your account stay at 0%. You don't lose nothing. But the real secret is tax diversification. While the government prepares to raise taxes, they won't stop printing money and they won't stop kicking the can. The only thing you can stop is the drain on your family future. Let's stop playing their games and start playing yours. Protect your downside with a 0% floor and lock in tax-free access before rates jump in 2026. The system update is happening whether you like it or not. The government is protecting the borders and the titans are protecting their data. Own your data, get offline, own your assets. Think of physical gold, physical silver, minerals, property, crypto, and a cold storage or life insurance policies. Own your skills. Don't just be a bystander. Learn how the pipes work. The script is written. Now you just have to decide if you're a player or you're a piece on the board. My question is, who is protecting your wallet? Don't wait for the tax bill to arrive in 2027. Let's build today. God bless you. Remember, this is not financial advice. This is for educational purpose